Hey everyone, Professor August here, and the numbers are in for how much money I made in 2025. So let's get into it. Okay, so um, 2025, I made a little more money than in 2024. And if you want to see how much money I made then, you can go look at the video in the description box. But before I even start talking about money, let me give some caveats. So I love talking about finances and the economy, and I like being transparent with everybody because I want my students to know. Oh, hi, kitty cat. I want my students to know how much I make as a professor, and I think it's a good idea for my colleagues to know. Um, I mean, all of this stuff is public anyways because we work for the state of California, but I think it's important just so that we know like how much everybody's making, and especially for new people who are getting jobs, um, if they have a chance to negotiate their income, maybe they can negotiate a higher income, and maybe set themselves up a little better than the way I set myself up when I first started. Anyways, so that's one caveat. The second thing is, um, the numbers that I'm about to give, they seem really high, and that's because they are on average for the United States. But I live in the Bay Area, and according to CNBC, and I've linked their article below, um, I live in the most expensive place in the United States. So I live in the Bay Area. The Bay Area consists of San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and in the North Bay, it's like Napa Valley. On CNBC's website, though, like San Francisco, San Jose, and Oakland are listed as the most like in the top 10, and San Francisco and San Jose are like the top two most expensive places. So if I were living in the Midwest, where I moved from, because I came from Chicago, and I were making the same amount of money that I am now, I'd be living it up. I'd have like a gigantic house with 8 bedrooms and bathrooms in every bedroom and a gigantic kitchen and all that stuff. It's just not possible here in the Bay Area. So everything is inflated. In Oakland, like San Jose, San Francisco, a regular like 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house costs anywhere from $1.5 million to $2 million, which means the monthly mortgage on a property like that is 15 to 20,000 a month. And so I don't live in any of those places. I live really far away from where I work. It's about 50 miles north of my job, because like in the neighborhood that I work, which is Fremont, small house is about like $1.8 million. So I can't afford that, not on the salary that I have. So I'm 50 miles away in a different county because it's cheaper to live here. But that also means that I have to commute 2 hours each way between my house and my job, which is not great. But anyways, so those are all of the sort of preamble to what I actually make. So in January, when like January 2025, my income was pretty much steady with what I was making the previous year. So my gross income, like the amount that the college was paying me, was $11,754 a month. That's the gross income. So after I pay into my pension, my insurance, like the retirement account, state and federal taxes, the net income, so what I actually got in my bank account, was $8,228. So $8,228 sounds like a lot of money. Okay, it is a lot of money. And again, had I been living somewhere else, it would go really, really far, but that's just not where I live. So $8,200 a month is weirdly considered lower middle class for this area. So if you go take a look at the CNBC numbers, like I have to be making almost twice as much as what I'm making right now to be living comfortably. Um, so I'm hitting the number for basic necessities, which is pretty much true, which is why it feels like we're living paycheck to paycheck, because after we pay the mortgage, which is about $4,000, We pay for our car payments, we pay insurance, and we pay whatever taxes we have. Um, Groceries, that pretty much like takes whatever's left over of that $8,000. So it is really expensive to live here. Anyways, so January through May, that's how much I was making every month. So a little under 12,000 gross and a little over 8,000 net. But then something interesting happens with my salary. So I'm on a 10-month schedule because when I initially got hired, you can opt into getting paid every month, so 12 months out of the year, or getting paid 10 months out of the year. And the reason I chose 10 months out of the year is because you get paid a little bit more every month. And I just couldn't afford to take a lower monthly income just to have it spread over 12 months. So over the summer months, July and August, or I should say June and July, I don't have a paycheck other than what I do on my own. So I have side gigs. I edit. I edit people's papers and resumes. I help people get into grad school. Um, I do arts and crafts because that's who I am. So yeah, whatever I can do to make some income, that's what I do. I actually do it so year round, but it ramps up during the summer months because I don't have a salaried paycheck for those months. But this past year in 2025, in June, I made $1,186 from the college, and that's back pay because the cost of living adjustment, so that 2% bump that normally would come when the school year starts in September, hadn't come in yet. So they retroactively paid us in June. And then in July, I got another retroactive payment, which was another slight bump in my salary, which was $529. It doesn't sound like a lot, so 1,000 in June and 500 in July, but that's money that gets like it was a one-time payout. But then starting in August, it was a regular monthly increase in my salary. So starting in August, my net jumped to 12,216 and my net was 8,551. So not a huge increase, but it's a nice little, couple $100 bump every month. And it's important because as we move forward and the longer I work at this college, that 2%, it's like roughly 2% every year. It just keeps adding and accruing, which is why my colleagues who've been working at the college for like 15, 20 years, they're making a lot more money than I am. That's simply because they've just been working longer, and so they get bumped up every year, usually in August. So in total, my salary gross income for 2025 was $119,856. My net income was $85,614. So those are great numbers. I'm really appreciative of the fact that I even have a job because my job has a pension, it has health insurance. I have a nice office space that I can go to every day. I can work there, I can work from home. Um, it's a nice job to have. The only downside is that it's in the Bay Area. And not because like the Bay Area sucks. I love the Bay Area. It has so much to offer and there's so many things to do here. It's just so expensive. That's it. That's how much I made for 2025 on my salary working at a community college. Um, I will do this video again next year, and I hope my income will have grown. It won't be a lot, maybe a couple thousand, but you know, every year it just adds up little by little. And so I'm at the beginning of my career. This is just my fourth year in at the college, so I got like 30 years before I can retire. But I'll keep you guys posted. I hope this was informative for you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Catch you in the next video.